Hey everybody, it's Kara Wong and I'm here today with Helen MacDougall, our leading lady, and we are interviewing for the Magical Unicorn Project. So Helen, tell me what your childhood was like growing up.
I became an adult at a very young age. I grew up very fast. There was a certain amount of turmoil and we moved a lot. My parents divorced when I was 5. We moved from Ontario to Nova Scotia. I've worked since I was 13. Since I was 13, I have never not worked. I've held a job steadily since I was 13. Right through high school, I worked 2 jobs in high school, always made honors, always overachieved. Probably that I needed attention, and any kind of positive attention is better than negative attention, and it felt better.
How do you overcome fear?
Sometimes I'm genuinely fearful of something, but I'll do it because I think you have to make yourself uncomfortable, and I think real growth doesn't come unless you make yourself uncomfortable a lot of times. And you have to suck it up, and I think for the most part, when you're fearful of something, the thought of it is worse than the act of it.
How do you handle failures in your life, or how have you overcome a setback you've had?
I've had lots of failure in my life, and if you do not learn from failure, it's just a failure. You have to take a lesson from it, and you have to think, and I tell my kids this all the time, what would I do differently? How would I change that? I'm an idiot, I shouldn't have done that, but you have to own it, you have to acknowledge it, because I think until you accept responsibility for something, once you accept responsibility for something and you acknowledge it, you know you have to change it.
Do you think that the Old Boys Club exists, and how do you deal with it?
The Old Boys Club absolutely exists. I'm not a member, obviously. I don't know that I've run into it on more than one occasion, and when I have, I over-prepare. And I would do more homework to make sure that if something comes up, I know the answer, even if it's particularly for me specifically. It was a couple of lawyers that I dealt with, and it was a pretty complicated transaction that we were in the middle of. But I made it a point to read up on every complication of the process. Things that were not part of my job, they were their job. But I made sure to know part of their job so that if they asked me, they would not be able to dismiss me.
What's the biggest emotional glass ceiling you've had to overcome in your life?
So my emotional glass ceiling, I am going to say, undoubtedly is my weight. And nobody wants to talk about that. It's always been my biggest weakness. It's my biggest insecurity. It's held me back. It's held me back at times socially, because I feel like I'm not good enough. And all women have an insecurity. All girls have insecurities. The ones that strut around like they're invincible and like they own the place, I guarantee they have insecurities. And I tell my daughters all the time, never compare your insides to someone else's outsides.
Yes. Yeah. What advice can you offer women on how to progress in their career?
I think the number one thing is to be honest, be authentic, be yourself, because it's way harder to be somebody else. Yes. If it comes naturally to be yourself, be yourself. Take responsibility for your actions. Never apologize for who you are. Apologize for what you did if you need to. Never apologize for who you are.
What is your spirit animal? So
I asked my girls what my spirit animal would be, and I expected, everyone in my house is a comedian, and they said, you're a unicorn. I do impossible things, and people think unicorns don't exist, but and people think that there's things that you can't possibly get all this done or handle all this, and I do.
What's your definition of success in life?
My definition of success is contentment. You should be able to look yourself in the mirror and know that, yeah, I'm all right, and I'm happy with my life, and I'm happy with everything, and it's more a personal answer than a professional answer, but I'm very content.
Thank you, Mortgage Centre Canada, for your generous sponsorship in making this video possible. And thank you, Helen MacDougall.